Welcome to Empowered Living. I'm Sheu. On this podcast, innovative leaders and visionary experts share insights and practical tools for work, family, and marriage. Each episode, we'll explore how to elevate your life while staying grounded in what truly matters to you. You're working hard to navigate relationships, build a thriving family, and create a legacy of purpose. We're here to help you do that with confidence and intentionality. So if you're ready to live a life by design, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Empowered Living, the podcast where we explore the conversations that shape how we show up in life, relationships, and personal growth. I'm your host, Sheu, and today we're diving into what it really means to stay true to yourself, even when it's hard. My guest today is Theresa Contreras, a designer, entrepreneur, and community builder who has spent years pushing boundaries, both in her career and in her personal journey. From navigating expectations in family and business to finding the courage to step back into racing, Theresa shares her powerful perspective on how to create a life that aligns with your values. We'll talk about the struggles of setting boundaries, the guilt that comes with putting yourself first, and how to build a strong support system that encourages authenticity. Theresa also opens up about the importance of environment and community in shaping who we become and how finding the right people can make all the difference. If you've ever felt pulled in different directions, afraid to disappoint others, or unsure of how to reclaim your own identity, this episode is full of insights and encouragement. Let's dive in. Hey, Theresa, I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Oh, hey, Ann. I'm so excited about this too. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so let's dive right in. I want to know how someone can stay true to themselves in situations when they feel like their values are being tested, especially when they're being tested by people that they care about.
Oh, this is good. I love that you're just diving in like this. I'm not going to lie. That's probably the hardest thing. I think even I still continue to struggle with that because you start to look at how like a situation, especially if it's family members or other people, where you want to do what maybe they want to do, but in your situation, you understand like you have certain morals and values that you want to kind of stick by. And I would say it's almost like you have to like make sure you don't react right away. It's like taking a minute for yourself to really be fully in the moment to like understand a situation. The hard part is that I think we have to look at how it's going to affect us. We understand that it might affect other people, but we really don't know how that's going to affect them and what that outcome is. So we can't like guess what that is really. I think we have to kind of try to stay grounded, like kind of like you're saying, like grounded in like who we are, to understand that this is going to be whatever decision we make in that moment, it is going to affect us, but it is very tough. So I really think in the moment, just, taking a moment to pause and really, you don't, that's the thing is I think we all think we need to react right away, right? If someone does ask us something, we think, well, we need an answer right now. And the thing is we don't. We're allowed to have a moment for us to know how it's going to affect us, what that's going to look like. And sometimes we need to step back and, ask for that.
Yeah. What practices or routines do you recommend to really stay grounded? Or do you have any that you have to really help you stay grounded?
I definitely, I think it is consistency in doing something. So, because I notice right away if I stop, I definitely read every day. So I want to make sure I'm doing something to impact myself in a way that's going to like help me grow. And so I try to listen to like a podcast or read something that is going to get me excited about the day and really like set that tone for that. And sometimes I forget, and like, I think that's the thing is when we forget to do things like that, we really notice like, oh, that's right. Like I didn't do this. And that's why I'm like, kind of like getting stuck in everything else. So to me, I always heard that, we have to be around other people that we want to kind of be like and stuff like that. And I thought, well, how do I do that when I'm at home or something? Well, we have podcasts, we have, YouTube and all of these things that we can listen to other people that can help inspire us to be, surrounded by the people that we want to be surrounded with so that we can continue to have the right mindset that we live in.
Yeah. So I heard podcasts, YouTube, even the books that you're reading. What other things can people do to create an environment that really supports, enables their authenticity?
So other communities, like finding your tribe. So for me, that's been a really big thing for me. Myself and my best friend that passed, Jessie Combs, her and I, when we found each other, it was like, we just knew we were like on the same level of getting excited about certain things and wanting to, be a little more spontaneous or, we worked in the garage. We enjoyed that together. So finding other people, like communities like that. So once we found each other, we realized like we wanted to build a community like that. So that's what we did is we actually, we built a nonprofit called Real Deal Revolution. And within that community, we were able to let other women know that we were around like this too, and so you kind of like start to, because we're all different. We all gravitate towards certain people. And it's funny because, each of us could share the exact same message, but for different people, they might respond to each of us differently and it's going to resonate with someone because they just understood the way I presented it different than someone else did. And so when you find that tribe of other people that really like you start to align with them and you have I don't know, the quirks of like what that looks like. I think that's the best part is surrounding yourself with a community. And that does have to be, I think, an in-person thing because it definitely, I mean, we're all, we're as humans, we're meant to have connections like that.
So when somebody starts standing up for themselves and really advocating for themselves, I think one of the first emotions that people often feel is guilt. They are feeling guilty that they're starting to prioritize themselves.
Yes.
So what advice do you have for these people that are struggling with the guilt while trying to stay true to who they really are?
Well, I'm going to say I am definitely one of those people. It still affects me, I think, every day. It's something that I want to get better at, but I continue to, struggle with. I don't know if in particular it's a woman thing too, a mother, all of these kind of, I guess, titles that we kind of have, like we all feel like, we need to put other people first. And I know I tend to forget to put myself first in so many situations. Gosh, what I do I try to remind myself, it's about like putting that, that safety mask on first for everyone else if we don't do it for ourselves. And it's like, it's funny because it is little reminders like that we all need to kind of have that help us. But I truly, it is something that I forget to do so often also, even when I talk about it and want to be in the moment. And it's funny because I think it's always easier for us to tell someone else like, hey, you need to do this for yourself. And you're like, oh, darn it, I'm doing it again. Like I need to be doing it for myself. Right?
Yep. Okay, so if that guilt is the internal resistance that we are feeling when we start advocating for ourselves, what about the external resistance? When we get people, spouses, kids, family members, parents, siblings, coworkers pushing back and maybe they're confused because for the first time you're standing up for yourself and you're starting to say no. Yeah. How do you deal with those people? How do you handle that pushback?
I know when I started to realize that I needed to have boundaries, right? And that kind of is what that looked like is, okay, how do I gently, let someone down or let them know that I'm kind of putting myself first? And I guess the best thing to do was like to kind of share like the situation that I'm in and why I'm doing it, because a lot of people I think most of the time we always think that people are thinking the same way we are, and they are not, right? They're coming from a different perspective and background, and so we understand in our head why we want to take action in a certain way and why we need to say no in this instance. But the thing is they don't understand why we're saying no. So sharing with them, which is hard but I think that's the biggest part, is we all forget that we need to communicate better and explain to others like how we're feeling and why we're wanting to do something and why we said no. Now, some people will just be like, no, and you're going to have to deal with it. And sometimes that's the way it has to go too, because the other person maybe doesn't want to listen to what you have to say. So, it's navigating the situation for sure, and understanding what that looks like in the moment. But for the most part, I think the more we share and communicate, the better it is for other people to understand where we're coming from.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about what to do when you realize that you need to start standing up for yourself. But if we go backwards a little bit, what do you think are some signs for people to notice that they've actually lost touch with themselves and they really need to reset, reconnect, regroup, recalibrate?
Ooh, that's really good. I think it's that moment. It's kind of like how we're all looking for happiness, right? It's that ever, like, oh, we need to be happy. And the thing is we know when we're in a good place and we have better energy and all of this, and then we know when we're not. And I think, and it's one of the things is and it's funny because this is across the board awareness, like really being aware of who you are in like how you feel in all of these moments. Because when you start to get like, oh yeah, I'm getting stuck in that struggle again of like trying to make sure everyone else is happy and I'm not making sure I'm happy, then I realize like I'm getting frustrated. I'm starting to do things that don't feel natural to me anymore. And I guess it's just really being aware, like it's a very very much we have to like make sure we know like, oh my gosh, I've had a great week. Like, what have I done? How am I feeling right now? Like, so that we understand what that looks like. And then when we get stuck in that other, like, it's like this whirlpool of like, okay, like I'm struggling because I'm making everyone else happy and no one's happy. And really knowing like how we feel in that moment and the choices that we made to get where we are and trying to get back on track to what that looks like.
And what do you think is the first step to get back on track?
I think it's stopping for a moment and being aware of like what's happening in that moment right then. Why did you get to this place? What are you doing wrong right now? Or what's the trap you fell back into, right? That, you need to come back out of, like, oh, I haven't been reading it all this week again. I haven't been surrounding myself with the right, people or, reflection that I need to be doing. And I get stuck in like, I feel like it's like society nowadays is like very fast paced, and we're constantly set in this mode like, oh, we have to do. And then what happens is we get I guess rolled up into that. And so we don't feel like it's okay for us to slow down. So it is like slowing down, being aware of what we just did, like understanding that there has to be a reset button in that moment to get us back on track. Like, oh yeah. And again, it's awareness, because I mean, even if you go, if someone's an alcoholic or something like that, like they don't go and seek help until they're aware that there's something wrong with them. So all of us need to be aware that something's happening. And so I think that's the hardest part for all of us, because we don't see what's happening on the outside, and like to be aware of it and what that looks like is like really hard. So like that's the first step, is being aware and understanding that you have to do this like hard reset to get back to where you need to be.
Yeah. Are there people or books that have really inspired you to help you stay true to yourself?
Oh, that's good. I love reading. It's really good. Right now, I'm currently reading like Purpose Driven Life, because it helps me get on track of like, why am I here? What am I doing? I've also read like You Are a Badass, Jen Sincero. That one's great too. I remember reading that a few years back, and it was so much like, I like how like quirky it was, and really like um having fun with things, because again, that's something that resonated with me, is like getting excited about that type of stuff. I've read some of like Ed Milet stuff, so there are a couple different ones. I actually love the You Are a Badass. It was something I think that really it jumped out at me, and then just reading that book. And it's funny because we were talking about it the other day with someone else too, and like it really did help me like inspire me in a lot of ways.
Yeah. What do you think is the number one mistake people make when they start trying to stand up for themselves, reclaim their identity, really live authentically?
Ooh, the mistake. Ooh, I have to think about that one. I guess I feel like, because we still feel like we're trying to live up to society and everyone else's like wishes, that we kind of like forget or don't even know what that is. Like we haven't truly figured out, I guess, who we are in a way and what that looks like. Um I know I even forget, like, I'm doing a course right now with like Jack Canfield, and it was talking about like mirroring and like looking at yourself, and like you need to actually know like how you want to present yourself and what that even looks like. So I think maybe the biggest mistake is people not knowing what that even looks like for themselves. Like they haven't truly explored what they think is being authentic to themselves, because we still try to be um we look at other people in society and we think, oh well, that's who I need to be and that's who I need to be. But the thing is like we each have like there's a certain quirkiness to each of us as individuals, that we need to look inside of us deeper, and sometimes we don't, I think, look deep enough maybe to really figure out who that person is.
That's good. So it seems like you have been able to really shift away from caring as much about what other people think. What do you credit for your progress in that area? Because I think that is something that many of the listeners will be struggling with, and knowing that they, want to make a shift towards
Yeah.
caring less. Where does somebody start? What do you credit to your progress?
Oh man. Okay. It's taken years. I don't think it's something that like happens overnight or anything like that. I think it takes us all time to like feel comfortable in our own skin. But the thing what I realized is once you do start like opening up and talking to people, that there are so many other people that have been waiting for you to do the exact same thing because they understand you or they've never been able to open up. You know, I do a podcast as well, and what I like to say is that my co-host Jane and I is that we hold space for people so that they're allowed to be authentic, because the thing is like we feel in so many ways that other people are judging us all the time, that this is a constant thing. And so what I've noticed is the more I say things that I feel uncomfortable at first, and then I do it, and then all of a sudden it resonates with people. Like sometimes you just need that one person to make you feel like you were seen or heard right in that moment. And you're like, oh, wow, you mean someone else feels like the way I do? I didn't realize that. But then that made them feel the same way, and so the more I was able to like connect with others in that way, the more it made me feel like I needed to stay true to myself, that I needed to come out more and be more authentic in my own truth and space and what that looked like.
What's been the hardest part?
Well, I love that you do you work with families all the time, and as I adore my family. We've grown up doing things all of our life, and I think that was probably the hardest part for me, was to start to want to see myself, like understand that I needed to put myself first. And as much as I loved my family and adored them, like I was putting a lot of their needs, before mine, because I thought that's what I needed to do. And so that's probably been the hardest part, is to be myself around my family, or show what that looks like, because those are definitely people I want to be accepted by, and I want them to not look at me in a way like, oh, well, you're putting, because I still struggle with that, like the putting yourself first, that it's a bad thing, that I shouldn't be doing that. And so that's just like a constant thing that I look. So I look for certain things that help me realize why it's so important, so that I can, those are like pillars, so that I can realize like, okay, no, I need to do this, because I'm able, like, it's funny because we think we're trying to make our family happy, and we think it's making them happy. But the thing is like, we just need to make ourselves happy, and then they're fine, and we don't realize that until we just make ourselves happy. And we're like, oh, I mean, I didn't need to do that. Oh, got it. So it's really hard to make that transition of like knowing that they'd be fine with it.
What do you think we should do to help support our family members, whether it's supporting our spouse or supporting our kids, to be more authentically themselves? What can we do to make it safe?
I don't think we mean to put judgment or like, oh, you need to be like me or anything like that. We don't mean to do that. But it's really trying to, like my son, for instance, like he went into the Coast Guard. And so for us, we wanted to support when he got excited about certain things. We wanted to be like, how, like we'd ask him, like, how can we support you? What can we do to help you on this journey? He got really excited about like jujitsu and doing things, and we had never done any of that before. But literally it's just asking, how can we support you in what you do? And it's funny because it can be that simple sometimes, of just asking other people that, and knowing that they're on their own journey, not how you want to support them the way you see you need to, right? But the way that they can be, how can I be there for you right now? Like let me know if you can think of any ways that I can be there to support you.
Yeah. At what age can you start asking that question to your kids?
Oh, I mean, I think, well, okay. I mean, you're like, okay. obviously when they're young, they're still learning, but I mean, I would say my son was probably like 6 or 7 when he started really getting excited about a certain thing. So I think kids are, they're always going to want to learn. So understanding how to support them in the right way like that. I mean, I don't think any age is really too young to share with them that you're there to help teach them or support them in any way. Yeah, I don't, because and even like us doing Real Deal Revolution, we do welding workshops. We've taught 6 and 7 year olds how to weld. And some people think like, oh, that's too young. And it's like, well, they want to learn in that moment, and they will actually listen to you really well because they are so like intent on getting something and accomplishing something. I mean, we see like 2 year olds are on the computer, on phones doing things like they're so smart in what they do. So I don't think any age is too young really to show them that you're there to support them.
What would you tell the younger generation, the next generation, about what to do to prevent a life where they are just getting pulled in multiple directions and living somebody else's life?
I think in the biggest, so like starting out, I think this is the hard part, is like it when you're, leaving high school, going into college or something like that. I think what we do is we get caught up in like, oh, we have to make a living, right? We have to, provide for ourselves now. Like, what does that look like? And if we're not knowing how to do that, then we're looking for other people to show us like, oh, this is what they've done before, so that's what I need to do. And it's so hard because we're gonna kind of get stuck in that a little bit until and I was just saying yesterday, like some of it can be a grind sometimes. Like sometimes you have to kind of like go through some of that as like a life lesson to know like, oh, I went in this direction and I got pulled in this because my family was doing this, or I saw so and so doing this and I thought that was the right thing, but it doesn't feel right. So sometimes you have to try it. I mean, that's what life is, right? Is us, exploring different options of what that looks like for us, because we're kind of not going to know until we try something and don't like it. And it's almost like a process of elimination of like, oh, hopefully it doesn't take too long in life for you to realize and know what those things are that you're excited about and what you really like, but then you have to make money at it, and you have to, do these other things to, be an adult, and make sure. So it's kind of like, I guess, knowing that, I guess giving yourself like grace in the fact that like you need to kind of explore some different things because you might get caught up in it a little bit. But like knowing you have to look at yourself and be like finally finding what gets you excited about life, what things, because until we start exploring those options, we don't know. I mean, some people find out later in life what they get excited about, because they finally did something. They're like, oh my gosh, this totally resonated with me and I love it. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And so I don't know that I have an exact answer for that, but that you kind of like, it's like allowing and understanding that you're going to have to like guide yourself and just know, like, I guess knowing when things are wrong, like going through it, understanding, take 6 months or a year to go through something, but realizing like you don't have to stay on that path.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your journey with racing, why you left and why you're coming back now.
Ooh, I love that. So racing's just always been something like there's something in our soul that like makes us feel a certain way when we do something. And that's just how I've always felt. I've rode ATCs, motorcycles as a kid. I grew up on them and that was fun. Like I loved it. I loved again, like how it made me feel. It's like it's like that spirit of being free. And so finally, when, when racing came around and I was really excited about doing it, my family didn't support me in that moment. And that was a really hard thing for me, to kind of accept. And I went through with it. I went ahead and did it anyway, but it still didn't feel the same, because I was like very close with my family, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not. So then afterwards I didn't really want to do it again, and so that was something that I was like, okay, maybe they're right, maybe I shouldn't do this, and I fell into that trap. And the thing is um we can all fall into that. But the thing is they might be comfortable a way that they're doing something. A lot of people don't understand, why we're wanting to take this certain path and this certain journey. Like, not everyone's always going to understand us in those moments. And I kind of get that, because we're pushing a barrier or a boundary that seems very unfamiliar to them, that they have no idea how to navigate. So I was doing something like that, and then getting back into it. Now I was like, not getting any younger. I need to be like, this is something that I need to do for myself as much as for, anyone else that like you bringing this question up, like anyone else that sees himself in that moment of knowing like it doesn't, it's not really anything to do with my family. That was just a comfortable space for them to be in. And I'm pushing past that. And so, for like, I don't blame them for that. I blame myself for not understanding, like, oh shoot, I'm trying to navigate uncharted territory that they just don't get. And so I need to, like, sometimes you need to go on your own, or you need to find other people in that arena to be with as well, and so I just know now, I'm like, okay, I need to get back there. It's something that's always been in my heart, and I know I need it so bad.
What do you think is going to be the hardest part about getting back in?
Well, right now I'm building the race car too. And so that's a big step. I mean, it costs a lot of money. It's a big journey to be doing that. It's something new that we're kind of doing, because we built vehicles, but not specifically for racing. So this is like a new, again, uncharted territory for us. So trying to surround myself with the right people. But, the hardest part is like, it's all of it. It's a very I did it before, but like, I got to get back into it. I got to be, mentally prepared, physically prepared. I got to get back around like all the people, like, you got to get back in the community and understand what that looks like too. I mean, there's so many different aspects to be prepared for it. And working on a car, and make sure, like, do other people want to be involved, and really, like, I think there are more communities out there that realize, that want to help us so much. I think that's always the blessing in disguise that a lot of people don't see, is like we're afraid to go out there and ask for help, but then the second we do, like, so many people want to help. And it's such a good thing to see that and really understand that people want to, because like, all of this is going to be hard. Like, the journey, even just saying and admitting, like, I want to do this, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to be all of these things that really come into play, that like, I am like it. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared, but that's what gets me. Like, I have to do this, right? It's those moments that I'm like, oh, that means I really need to do this, because of those moments like that.
Okay, so you've got a ton of things that you're working on, a lot of different projects, or organizations in your business. What do you do? What is your go-to hobby to help you slow down and just be present?
Gardening. I love to be outside, because I forget, it's like that grounding thing, right? Is just like putting your hands in the dirt, like really understanding like the beauty of the world, and like that's what like connects us all. And like, it does help me slow down, because like, especially, the world can get fast and busy. And when you got there, you're trying to like nurture and give attention to something, to help it grow in a way that's kind of funny, because we all need it. We all need it in that same way. So it gives me time to reflect, and to really think about moments like that, and understand what that looks like. So yeah, gardening is one of my favorite things, is just to be outside and enjoy. And we all need sunlight. Like we all like literally need that type of stuff, right? Like in our lives as humans. So it reminds me to remember that, to like kind of like the core of who we are, to be present in that.
Yeah. Okay, so I know that your personal mission statement is to stay true to you. I want to know what it took for you to actually get to something so concise and succinct. What was the process that got you to that statement?
Years of figuring out, right? It definitely, so like over the years, and so I moved out to the desert, and what's so funny is, I used to live in the suburbs of LA, and to me the energy is different out here. But what I realize is, oh, as a kid, we were always we were going to the desert, and we had these moments. And so I was like, oh, like this is who I am. I enjoy these moments to reset myself, to be grounded in who I am. And so the more I was able to put myself in like an environment that helped me see more of myself, because that's another thing, is what environments are we putting ourselves in? Whatever we're around every day is going to shape us, right? The people we're around, the job we're doing, the city we live in. And what I realized is I was, in a suburb of LA. So of course there's a lot of hustle and bustle, and you have to, do things at a certain pace and everything. And moving out to the desert for me was a moment that I could where I slowed down and really found more of who I was. And so I realized oh, this is an environment I thrive in more. I didn't even know I needed it as much as I did. But for all of us, I think, again, it's being aware of what those environments look like for us, whether they're people that we surround ourselves with, whether it's a physical environment. Like for me, being a designer, I need to have a space that is constantly I enjoy being in the space, because it being creative, it keeps me more productive and excited about creating more, so I can't just go in a regular garage or something and work in that. I'm like, no, I need chandeliers hanging. I need cool signs and artwork. I need, the bikes are over here in the corner and they inspire me. And so I need things like that stimulate my creativity. And so again, it's knowing. So I guess being in certain environments, that's what really helped me understand, real deal, a tribe, finding a tribe, finding collective, people that really help shape, and the, when they say iron sharpens iron, right? Finding the other people that are going to help do that in a way. And I was finding these people. And so the more I did it, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is where I thrive more, and what that looks like, and where I can be free. Because again, not everyone, I say that it could be fearful for someone to walk out their front door. And that doesn't make sense to me or you, or maybe a lot of people, but they might have the exact same fear that I do, flying off a dune. They're not going to do that, but my level is much different than theirs. And so I need to find the other people that get excited about that, and that understand me for who I am. And so the more I put myself around that, the more I was able, to find, who I was, and really, and really be understanding of opening myself up more to not worrying about being judged by others.
Okay, so if people want to learn more about what you're working on, how can they get a hold of you? How can they find you?
Yeah. So my website is teresacontreras.com. So they can find me there. I am on Instagram also. My handle is Design Muse. So DESIGNMUSE, because I really like thrive on helping people get excited about design and in creating motorcycles, cars, trucks, environments, whatever that looks like and stuff. So yes, so teresacontreras.com. And then my business is bajaforged.com. And then I have a podcast, highoctanehustle.com. And of course, the nonprofit Real Deal Revolution. But if you go to my main one, everything's on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Theresa. This conversation has been really, really amazing.
Oh, Anne, this is great. I'm so excited. We had a great time at SEMA, and I have to say that I completely enjoyed your portion of that at SEMA. It really actually like helped me look at what I loved about it. What did you do? The exercise that you did at SEMA was so great because it helped us look at what the why can I not think of the word right now? Our values. Thank you. Yes, what our values are, because they were not things I was thinking about. So what, like challenge is a value to me. And I was like, why would that ever be a value? So I just want to say thank you. Like things that you're doing are great. And I love that. So thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks for tuning in to Empowered Living. I hope today's conversation sparked some inspiration and gave you tools to live more intentionally in your family, work, and life. If you enjoyed our episode today, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story or actionable takeaway. And if you know someone who would love this episode, share it with them, because living an intentional life is better when we do it together. Until next time, remember, the life you want doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Let's keep creating it one step at a time.